Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a Zerg versus Terran where we find ourselves on the map Death Aura. Spawning here in the northwest corner, playing with the red Zerg drones, we're looking inside of the main base of soO. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran SCVs already typing something in Korean in the chat. Now, I can't read Korean, so I have no idea what that was all about. But we're looking inside of the main base of Dream. Alrighty, so here we go. Now, I selected the longest game from Olimo League that was played in the June finals. So in case you're unfamiliar, Olimo League, they're awesome. I will go ahead and actually post a link to their Patreon page down below in the description of this video, which is what makes that tournament happen. This is the longest game that was played in the June finals, and I'm excited to figure out what it is all about. Now, it takes place on a map called Death Aura, and now that the map pool is a couple of weeks old, let me show you around real quick in case you're unfamiliar. I gotta say, I really like it. So there's these circles right here in the center. These are not slowing circles like we've seen many times in the past, but these speed up your units, both the ground units as well as the air units. So if units go through it, they will basically be sped up a little bit. And what the result is, right? And I wasn't entirely sure what to think of it when I looked at like the map feature initially, but the result is that while this is a very large map and there are like many expansions that you can go for, it has a lot of the features of a macro map, so if you want to go and expand all over the place, you can do so. But because of those speed zones over here, it also opens up the opportunity for all kinds of aggressive rushes. So it's like a macro map and a cheese map all in one, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Since basically if you send units from this ramp right over here to your opponent's ramp, right over here, and the rocks are not destroyed on the outer paths, the units will go through those circles and they will basically arrive on the other side rather quickly. It's pretty cool. So it's got the features of a small map, but also the features of a big map all in one. It's kind of nice. Anyways, we'll see what these players end up going for here. It's going to be the standard barracks into command center and then into a factory for the Terran player. And likewise for the Zerg, it looks like it's a hatch, gas, and then also a pool. He pulled a couple of drones out, probably at 60. So he can start up the third hatchery here before this Reaper can come out. Now you can see the timings, they're very close. But yeah, at this level, obviously, we should not expect them to mess up any of their early game build orders here whatsoever. Now, I know that this is a long game, right? So I have no idea really what to expect. I just know that generally speaking, soO, he's not considered a late game player. So for those of you unfamiliar, soO is the swarmy Zerg, okay? He's perfectly capable of playing late game, but for some reason, he's never really favored it. He's always been a big fan of just, you know, headbutting with roaches, ravagers, zerglings, banelings, maybe some corruptors and all that as well. But he loves just simply making a lot of stuff and punishing his opponent's mistakes. He likes to sit around on lair tech for quite a while, and while he might go up to Hive at some point, usually he uses that Hive tech mostly for like mid-game upgrades. So he will go for like, you know, additional Evo Chamber upgrades and all that, just to continue the assault for a little while longer. So I don't really know exactly what to expect from this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's gonna be a lot of aggression here from soO. In the meantime, though, on the side of the Terran player here, we do have that very classical 1-1-1. So he followed up the factory with an additional refinery, then added on the starport as well. And that probably means he's going to go for a third command center, maybe over here to complete the wall off, or maybe inside of the main base, to continue, obviously, macroing at about like the 4.5 minute mark. Now, actually, would you look at that? Okay, I was going to say, what is he going to make out of that starport? It is going to be a fusion core. So this is a classic Battlecruiser opener. These have kind of fallen out of favor a little bit on the ladder, I've noticed. I've not seen a lot of Terran players play this kind of stuff on the ladder. Maybe it's due to the fact that, for example, both Innovation and then also Maru have been going for a lot of Banshees again. Not entirely sure, but this was a build that was, or I guess this is still popular, right? We can't really say that it's outdated or whatever. This is a build that basically allows you to get a very quick Battlecruiser out. And while you don't get to go for the third command center nearly as quickly, so there it is finally coming up right now. So that's going to be at the front right here. About a 4-minute third CC, 4 minutes and 10-ish seconds. You're going to be vulnerable against Zerg players going for roach pushes. So if Zerg players decide to go for a roach push, oof, you can certainly be in a little bit of trouble. Now look at this. The Hellions actually, they seem to dive into the mineral line. That's at least where they want to go. Perfect defense so far here from the Zerg player, keeping these Lings alive. Probably wants to try and see if he can set up a surround here. Just tries to manipulate the pathing there of those Hellions for as long as possible. Oh my god. Is he actually going to defend this with, like, 3 drone losses? No way. Aye, aye, aye. All right. Nicely done. So 11 Zerglings, 3 drones at the exchange of 6 Hellions and a Reaper. That is a trade that a Zerg player will take any day of the week. Now, obviously, this did buy enough time right now for that Battlecruiser to come up. And actually, would you look at that, additional factories are being added on. So this is going to be a mech game right here from Dream. Usually, this is either the moment where you transition into bio or mech. Now, this little Zergling, it wish it had eyes or maybe like the way to jump up to cliffs, you know, like they can do in the campaign, but he's just gonna scout the timing of the 3rd CC, and that means that Zerg doesn't really know what is going on here inside of the main base. Looks like the Battlecruiser. It's decided to jump all the way to the back here. Spire immediately comes up for the Zerg. How many drone kills can he get? Obviously, the Queens, they did lose 1 anti-air range. So, I mean, this Battlecruiser, where's he gonna go? Is he gonna go over there? Is that a save point? I guess so. I mean, I would be very surprised if Dream ends up losing it. Yeah, okay. So I think in the previous balance patch, this Battlecruiser probably could have been shot at there by the Queens. The Queens ended up losing 1 of their anti-air range. I mean, they can still shoot like a screen away, so it's really not that big of a deal. But nice amount of damage being done, though. And obviously, once Tactical Jump comes off cooldown, which is about halfway right now, he's going to be able to continue the harassment for a little while longer. Plus, these Queens have been occupied, which means that there's no tumors here at the front. There's a couple of injects that were missed as well. And while eventually, obviously, the Corruptors will come out, or maybe even Mutalisks, this will allow the Zerg player to, at the very least, you know, this will force the Zerg player, I suppose, to not, like, continue their reign of the map for too much longer. At least for a little while, they'll be halted. Roach Warren coming up, by the way. Is that a wall? Oh, I think it is. Yeah, he created like a little choke point, so these Hellions... It looks like there's an area over here where they can go through, but I guess not. Anyways, Battlecruiser, it does have Tactical Jump off cooldown right now, so it can go whenever it wants to. Roach Speed is coming up, and Double Armory as well. So the Double Armory is a big indication to me that this is going to be a pretty passive game from Dream. By the way, it looks like the Battlecruiser, there we go. It went back home with 11 kills under its belt. A couple different ways in which Terran players can follow this up. Very common is for Terran players to go for the double armory style, but we see about, I would say about just as often we see the single armory style. At the very least, it used to be very, very common to just go single armory. I haven't seen a lot of mech in general recently, if I'm being completely honest with you, because, I mean, Terran Bio has been the flavor of the season, I guess. But long story short, generally speaking, when it's a single armory, Terran players will try to play a little bit more passively. Or, sorry, with one armory, they will try and play a little bit more aggressively, where they will go for that battle mech army. So usually it's going to be based around Cyclones, and then also maybe a couple of Hellions, and, you know, they try and harass and stuff while getting a bunch of the armor upgrades. When it comes to double armory upgrades, though, this is quite an investment here for the Terran. Usually it's going to be a more passive approach. Alright. Well, the Battlecruisers, they've been roaming the map. It's 2 of them right now. They don't have... Well, this one doesn't have tactical... Okay, no. It's going to go down. Poor Battlecruiser, man. It's going to try to see if it can get another queen, but it won't. Anyways, it's been non-stop Roach production here for a little while for soO. He saturated 3 bases. He got the 4th coming, but that 4th base is very late here for the Zerg. He probably wants to see if he can potentially close out the game right here, right now, with a very sharp timing attack. So this is a timing attack that I've been teaching Zerg players around the world for many, many years. Some of you may have actually found my channel because of this push, where you go for +1 missile, +1, or, well, I guess not +1 Roach speed, but you go for +1 missile and then Roach speed, and then you attack your opponent right when those upgrades finish. A little bit slower by soO, to be honest. I mean, the timing would have been very crisp, but I guess he really wanted to, like, get a little bit more of an army. He may have hit, like, a small supply block, but here we go. The Swarm wants to engage this army. Now, there's a couple of Widow Mines as well. Love the addition here of the missile turrets to keep those Ravagers, or those Corruptors, rather, back. Siege tanks in the distance, though. Oh my god, is this really a push you want to make right now? This seems like an awful lot of Terran to be fighting, but I guess he does have a pretty good economy, and obviously he can reinforce this much quicker. Tactical Jump at this point is off cooldown. Terran SCVs are pulled away as well to sacrifice themselves to maybe take a little bit of damage. 7 of those workers go down so far. 1 Battlecruiser will be repaired here eventually. At the same time, though, the Roaches and Ravagers continue fighting right over here. Now, he didn't bring any detection, so those Widow Mines, they will get another shot in here in just a little bit. Siege tanks on the high ground will also eventually finish up, and they're going to continue shelling down. But that's still 20 SCVs right now, and he's not done. Looks like eventually all of the Zerg army will basically be sacrificed just to try and kill as many workers as possible. Was that a worthwhile trade? Well, you can see right there, resources lost. Not ideal for the Zerg, but he did end up killing a lot of those Terran units. And obviously, you know, Zerg does have a potential right now to just simply continue mining here, right? So maybe he wants to continue here with another attack wave. I wouldn't mind that at all. He starts a +2 missile right at this point. 4th command center does get spotted as well. He gets a couple of Widow Mines for free. Actually, only like 2. Oh my god. He saw an opportunity and he took it, yeah. Very ballsy move right there by Dream to try and move down that ramp. A whole bunch of these siege tanks will end up going down, and that's very painful because you know what? After this one gets cleaned up, I think it's going to be another wave. I think he's going to go for a lot more units and try and see if he can once more go for an aggressive push like this. Excellent move out here for soO. Now keep in mind, he doesn't have the economy that we see other top-level Zerg players have in these moments in the game, right? So he's been favoring a ton of units over drones. So if you watch someone like, for example, Dark play against this, or maybe someone like Cerro or Raynor, they will oftentimes against Terran Mech drone straight up to like 90 workers, right? This is a relatively small Zerg eco, but he's just, look at this. He's gonna pile on the pressure. Okay, so Dreamy ended up losing a lot of siege tanks. How many tanks ended up falling there? 7. That's a lot. He does still have a pretty nice defendable location, and most importantly, he finishes up this planetary fortress, right? So the planetary will certainly be done by the time that the next Zerg attack wave happens. I think what soO probably wants to go for right now is just a ton of stuff, and then go for another wave. He does have 80 workers right now, which is quite nice for him. +2/+2 though is finishing up. So eventually, right? Here's the thing. Eventually, the Zerg army will be significantly weaker than that of the Terran. Zerg at this point in StarCraft 2 really cannot make an army composition that will trade efficiently against a maxed out Terran mech force. It's just the nature of the beast. Brute Lord Infestor is no longer a thing, just not as good. Actually, hold that thought, we'll talk about it in just a little bit. Ugh. Well, is he really? Oh my god, this is such a soO game. So many players would just back off, but he's like, no, I'm gonna fight this. Corruptors will be coming up as well. Some corrosive biles land on those Battlecruisers. SCVs, though, desperately trying to repair this as well. Once again, a lot of the workers end up going down. Battlecruiser apparently now teleports forward. And once more, I think that Dream manages to deflect this, but at the cost of 17 SCVs. Okay. So, when maxed out, the Terran mech army, it's not beatable by one Zerg army. Now, obviously, the strength of Zerg is that with this kind of immobile Terran force, they can teleport, I mean, and do a little bit of damage and stuff, but Zerg can just sort of take the entire map and mine however much they want, right? And because of that, even though Zerg cannot really beat that maxed out Terran mech army with their first force, they can remax really, really quickly and clean up the Terran player who will probably be starving on resources. So the approach that a lot of Zerg players take at this level... Oh my god. Alright, no tactical jumps available. Oh no, he does have it on this one, so I guess he's gonna jump away here. Anyways, what the approach here is of most Zerg players is to contain the Terran player here on X amount of bases. X meaning as low as possible, so ideally 4 at most. You basically allow them to mine out 4 bases, but then eventually they will have to move out. And if they don't have a 5th and you've been mining off of like 7 bases, no cancel by the way, you can obviously overwhelm them, right? So that's usually the approach that most Zerg players take. Now, I kind of like this here for soO as well, although I am a little bit worried. That Terran army, like the supply, is slowly creeping up, right? And when you're still playing Roach Ravager against... Ooh, nice! That was sexy. But when you're still playing Roach Ravager against a maxed out Terran mech army, you know, he's gonna get 3/3 upgrades obviously really quickly because of this double armory build. That's gonna be a super difficult engagement to take. As in, like, I don't think that's possible. Alright, so, Infestation Pit is coming up. He's even getting himself some melee upgrades. Hive is starting up right now. We see Infestors. Alright, so eventually there will be a tech up or a tech change right here from the Zerg. Couple of Cyclones now added into the mix as well. I don't think this is going to be a battle mech army. Nah. He's pretty siege tank focused still. So 7 siege tanks at this point. I'm surprised he hasn't added on any Thors. I think Thors are absolutely amazing in this scenario. Thors in general seem to, yeah, just murder most Zerg units right now. And they're really, really good just at dealing with stuff. It almost seems like soO is making that assumption right now as well. He's getting himself Infestors. Infestors, once upon a time, they were used, obviously, for their Infested Terran ability. These days, they don't have that ability anymore, but they do get used for Neural Parasite, especially. Now, he doesn't have that research yet, so maybe he wants to try and see if he can land some fungal growths on maybe like a couple of those Cyclones and I don't know, maybe a Battlecruiser. When they are fungal growthed, so when the Battlecruiser gets fungal growth on it, it cannot teleport away. So basically all of those unit maneuvering abilities, I guess is what we can call them, they're all denied when the Zerg player has fungal growth on it. So that's something to keep in mind here. I love these little move outs though. Yeah, it's pretty much free, right? Okay, so here's the question. 5th command center is coming up. 6th one is actually about halfway done here as well. What he wants to do right now is establish the base over here in the bottom left-hand corner. I think what soO probably wants to do is deny that. He really does not want to have a 5th base here for the Terran player, because then they can max out multiple times. The creep spread, by the way, absolutely ridiculous. But look at this Zerg army, man. It looks pathetic. That's, yeah, it's a lot of siege tanks. They can be clumped up, but if you can't buy them because all of the, you know, Ravages die when you get close, this is going to be a very, very tricky position right now to be in. 5th base is coming up, and this one is very, very pivotal. I think if he gets this one up, it's going to look so much better here for the Zerg player. Or for the Terran player, sorry. This is also the moment where the main base is completely run out. Natural will be running very low as well, 16 minutes into the game. So this 5th base, super critical. Alright, now that he's got it secured, I actually like this position for the Terran way more. Now, soO has been building up a bit of a bank. He's got himself Neuroparasite coming up as well. He got himself the Greater Spire coming up. Dream just still adding on more siege tanks. I would love to see a couple of Thors, man. I'm surprised that there's no Thors here. I guess at this point, since he sees all of those infestors, he doesn't really want to add on like the biggest of biggest units anymore. Because, I mean, obviously, if you get your Battlecruisers neuraled, that would suck. If you manage to get your... oh, actually, hold that thought. There's a little bit of a counterattack happening right now to the top section of the map. Is he going to be able to get his base? My god, Cyclones! They're so good! There we are. The hatchery does indeed fall, and that's a nice little bit of denial there by Dream. Anyways, what I was trying to say is if he goes for a lot of Battlecruisers right now, or he goes for like... Yeah, it's not another Battlecruiser, actually. Okay. Anyways, if he adds on like another Battlecruiser and a bunch of Thors, obviously if that army gets neural parasited, it would be an absolute disaster. Dream, though, slowly moving out onto the map. Now, this base over here, we don't see that one taken very often. There's another one, obviously, right over here. It's got 2 high-yield Vespian geysers, or rich Vespian geysers, apparently is what we call them. These bases, they mine gas as if it's basically 4 gases, right? As if it's 2 full bases, which is a lot. Now, hold that thought once again. Because soO keeps moving out. He does have a couple of Brute Lords right now added into the mix. Now, Thors, absolutely amazing. There we go. He sees the Brute Lords and instantly queues up the Thors. I love it. Yeah, you don't want to go too Brute Lord heavy right now as Zerg. So, as soon as you, I guess, make Brute Lords, the Terran player will straight up switch into a couple of Thors. And Thors just... I mean, they used to be countered by Brute Lords. These days, Thors absolutely counter Brute Lords 100%. They gun them out of the sky super quickly. And obviously with maxed out upgrades, right? They're going to be absolutely phenomenal. By the way, he is going to continue the research right now on the flyer weapons as well, which I really, really like. So maybe Dream wants to go for like a full-on Sky Terran transition as well. Now, this is, by the way, the moment where the Terran might very well want to go for like a big push. He's basically maxed out, especially with those Thors finishing up right now. There they are. Got a couple more Battlecruisers coming up. Yeah, he wants to go, I think, full Sky Terran. Okay, I was going to say he could try and transition here maybe to like, you know, a big push. Because he's maxed out and his army is way better than that of the Zerg. But obviously he's scared of moving too deep onto the creep. I mean, the creep, once again, amazing here by soO. He's just spreading it all over the map. By the time that Terran can even start engaging any of this, he's going to be in trouble. So I think he maybe want to go for like a more mobile army. Now, ooh, the infestors, they got to be so careful. Missile turret will eventually finish up. A couple of brutes, though, come up here as well. And they force the unsiege here. I think what he wants to do right now is grab the base here on the right-hand side. Tanks, once again, siege up. Are they sieged up in time? I think it will be enough. Yeah, I don't know, actually. It looked like it was quite fast here. Dream immediately adds on a lot more units. Obviously, at this point, right, the Battlecruisers can jump in as well, but the Terran player is kind of spread thinly. Zerg is far more mobile. Well, not so much Brute Lords, but Zerg in general is far more mobile than that Terran mech army. But once again, even though that fight didn't look that great there for the Terran player, you can see the resources lost are just so heavily in favor here of the Terran player. Terran mech, it's super efficient, and usually it loses because it runs out of money. So that's why I was excited there to see the Terran player taking the 5th base. He's now looking to secure the 6th. If he can get the 7th up as well, that would be absolutely awesome here for Dream. Who, by the way, is adding on more and more Battlecruisers. He's going to go up to 7 here. Is this a mass Battlecruiser transition? Mass Battlecruiser Thor siege tank? Sounds pretty good to me. Alright, looks like that base will just barely stay alive. Don't even know if you really want a base with that little hit points. Love the addition of the Widow Mines as well, man. This is cool. So the Widow Mines are kind of used here for zoning purposes. There comes the swarm here in the top section of the map. They want to try and see if they can prevent this planetary fortress, and I think they probably will be able to. One Battlecruiser, though, is going to be able to join the fray, too. Planetary finishes up, and, well, you know what? I thought that was pretty good there for the Zerg. Turns out those Battlecruisers, they're pretty mobile. They can move around pretty rapidly. A couple of Vipers right now added on here by the Zerg, who, by the way, has been taking the entire map. This base over here is awesome, man. He really needs to saturate this. Now, all this time, by the way, soO, I mean, he's got a bank, yeah. He's lost 20 drones, yeah, but he's never really had that many workers. I think the most workers that I saw him have, maybe he had more at some point, but I think the most I saw him have was like 80. Which is a little bit on the lower end of things when you know you're not going to be able to make one army that's going to be really good against Terran. You need to remax. By the way, these are Cyclones with a mission. Remember that base that took damage earlier? Well, now it's gone. Alrighty. This is the moment also where Terrans can start getting rid of their SCV count. They don't really need SCVs anymore because they have a lot of orbital comments and they can serve the function of mining minerals just fine. Now look at that, the Battlecruiser train. This is 9 Battlecruisers. I don't know if this is all of them, but this is a whole bunch. This is 7 of them, so I think there's a couple more BCs hanging out somewhere else. Ooh, alright. I actually thought he wanted to move in there, but I guess he is not entirely sure where the Zerg army is located. Well, now he sees. One sacrificial Hellbat here. Apparently giving the vision that he needs. Base once again gets replaced over here. Another hatchery will be coming up as well. Okay, here we go. Battlecruiser operational. That was my best Battlecruiser, you know, operational quote. How did I do? Do they even say that in StarCraft 1 actually, or StarCraft 2 actually? I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, nice little push right here for soO. He cleans up a couple of the cheaper Terran units. Here come the Battlecruisers though. And these guys, man, they're gonna be able to get rid of this base real fast. Is he gonna even target it? Okay, there we go. Look at the Battlecruiser damage. Now you wanna know the fun part? These missiles are not even maxed out yet. They can be so much stronger. Only now is when +2 starts up. He actually took a little bit of a break there in upgrading. Every single one of those missiles gains +1 damage, right? Per upgrade. So right now, I mean, he only gets +1, but he can go all the way up to +3. And those things are absolutely insane. He does have tactical jump available. There's no infestors here anymore as far as I can see, no. So this is going to be a full-on Terran Deathball here very soon, man. Look at that. He's adding on 3 additional Battlecruisers. That's going to bring the grand total up to 12. Alright. Yeah, soO wants to engage this, but he doesn't want to just get everything, like, you know, smashed in the face with, like, Yamato cannons and then teleported away. He doesn't want to go too crazy there. At the same time, once again, the Zerg Force in a little bit of trouble, or I guess the Zerg Eco here in a little bit of trouble. These Battlecruisers, I guess, could join up with the others. Man, I love the fact that he's splitting up his army right now. Might be a little bit risky, though. I don't think you want to attempt this necessarily in your own game. It's a very difficult move to make, and, well, you can see Dream also not doing that perfectly at all. At the same time, though, the Battlecruiser fleet has arrived. They're gonna go to town right here on the tech structures of the Zerg. Now, luckily here for soO, he did finish up the 3-3 just a little bit ago. And, well, finally, the Corruptors here are there in bigger numbers. But the Battlecruisers, they're already gone. This one, it's got 6 hit points, but, of course, it can be repaired back up. At the same time, a couple of the drones ended up going down here. This is a sick game, man. Both players have a really big bank. Both players have a very, very solid amount of income here as well. Zerg is starting to slowly but surely fall behind, though. I mean, I'm saying that as someone who plays a lot of Zerg. I've played quite a bit of Terran Mech as well. When Terran Mech has this big of a bank, and, you know, their bank is bigger than that of the Zerg, knowing that Zerg cannot really trade efficiently against this, and knowing that they need more stuff, this is going to be a difficult one to get to right now. So back in the day, what you could do is make Broodlord Infestor, and that would just sort of counter everything with the Infested Terran and all that. These days, though, since the Infested Terran is gone off of the Infestor, and they added Microbial Shroud, which is absolutely pointless. Yeah, it's not ideal. Oh my god, this is the worst moment if you're a Zerg player. The entire game long, you want to kill SCVs, and then at some point Terran's like, okay, here you go. I don't need these anymore. I want to just add additional supply to my to my army instead. So the 16 SCVs, they sacrificed their lives in exchange for a bunch of siege tanks, apparently. Okay, a big Zergling counterattack. Or maybe this is not huge, but this is going to be annoying. Maybe this is going to allow the Terran player, or sorry, the Zerg player a little bit of time. They actually kill a base over there. Even though these structures can fly. Okay, I think that this is going to come down to one really big engagement, though. soO knows that he needs to go for one here pretty soon. He is mining the base right now in the top right-hand corner, but Terran, I mean, their bank is getting massive, man. We're looking at like 10,000 resources in the bank. And yeah, it takes a long time to produce any of these units, so if he like loses everything in one go and he has to like spend his money, then it's going to take like 5 minutes before he maxes out once more, but as long as he just plays relatively cautiously, I think he's going to be able to get the upper hand. Once again, the Battlecruiser hit squad here in the bottom left-hand corner. Well, this time around, Neural Parasite is available.
Under direct assault.
You can't see these. Oh my god, he's scanned! Wow, alright, well, Neural Parasite landed. And he ended up doing alright there, but the Battlecruisers are already gone. At the same time, small little hit squad over there. My god, these Battlecruisers, man. They just go for the Yamato cannon and then they back out, right? This is now 13 BCs. They're gonna be able to continue killing stuff. This little hit squad over here also ended up killing the hatchery with the high yield gases. Are they gonna be able to get the base? By the way, this army is still not maxed out, by the way, man. He's only just now starting up +3. Dream really dropping the ball when it comes to that, but I guess he's dealing most of the damage with Yamato cannon when it comes to actually the army. He's running around right now and slowly but surely dismantling this Zerg. Look at the money here from soO. soO has been fighting with maxed out army after maxed out army after maxed out army, but this is going to be the first time where he can't really get that army again. Right? His bank is empty. He's at 197, so I guess this is going to be the force that he's going to do it with. Can't add on Ultras. Can't really add on, like, Infestors here. Can't really add on a whole lot. Well, here we go. This is apparently going to be the force that he will go for. Does get some huge Blinding Clouds right there on all of that. Beautiful parasitic bombs there as well on all of those Battlecruisers. Good splits there, though, by Dream, trying to negate some of that damage. Ravagers also land Corrosive Biles, but look at this Dream. He just simply moves through it. And while this was all going on, he didn't even have the +3 flyer attack weapons yet. That's so sick. Well, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. And of course, as always, a special shout out to the Patreon supporters. Thank you very much for all of your generosity. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile. And I'll see you once again in that next one.